Good evening. In today's video, I'm going to be looking at an old office desktop that I got for free and testing its ability in gaming. For that, we will need a desk, a computer, and some peripherals. Taking a look inside shows off our Athlon 7750 Black Edition, released in 2006 with 2 cores and 2 threads, clocking in at 2.7 GHz with a 95 watt TDP, supporting our 4 GB of DDR2 memory. After powering it up and booting into Windows 7, we can get a better look at our Athlon processor. Now to download graphics drivers. After downloading our graphics drivers, we can take a look at our iGPU, the Radeon HD 3200, released in 2008 with 512 megabytes of GDDR3 memory, a clock speed of 500 MHz, and 40 shading unit. It speaks for itself for not being a gaming-oriented iGPU. Now, we move on to some benchmarks. They were performed on a 4x3 monitor with a resolution of 1280 by 960. The testing spans across 5 games: Among Us, CounterStrike Source, Global Offensive, Minecraft, Nekopara, and Rally Sport Challenge. The first game I benchmarked was Among Us. Being a mobile game, I figured the system would be plenty capable of running it, and it was in fact able to run the game at an average of 29 FPS with a minimum of 14.7 FPS and a max of 30.7 FPS. It was completely playable besides a bit of screen tearing now and then. Next up is CounterStrike Source, a game we likely all know. Being released in 2004, would only be 4 years old when this computer was being used. I actually had a pretty surprising result. Managing a maximum frame rate of 61.5, an average of 46.2, and a low of 3.4, aside from horrible frame drops, and if you stay away from smokes, this computer handled it like a champ. Though after 10 minutes of testing, it began thermal throttling, so I did a little bit of modification to remedy that. After my modification, the next game I tested was CSGO. Being a game from 2012, I didn't expect much out of this poor iGPU and 2-core processor. Slugging in an average of 12 FPS with a high of 20 and a low of 0.3, this was anything from playable. Even the menus were difficult to navigate, and I would highly advise against getting your buddies together with free PCs for a LAN party. After that horrific performance, the next test was Minecraft. The settings are on screen, but they are basically turned all the way down. But I must admit, this old hog put up a fight. Getting an average of 31.6 FPS was an okay experience, about on par with what most people would start out playing Minecraft on way back when it was only on PC. But Nowadays you would definitely get a better experience on console or even mobile, getting frame drops down to 0.7 FPS with a high of 60.2. This one was a bit of a meme game installed on the system, to be honest, Nekopara. Though, it does run like a top, being a visual novel and all, getting an average of 35 FPS with a high of 75 and a low of 1.7. As a visual novel machine, it would work. And last but certainly not least, the whole reason I got an older system, Rally Sport Challenge. Being the game I played as a kid on my old XP machine, I needed a way to play it again, so I went to Computers for Schools Manitoba and got myself a free old PC. Now when it comes to actually running this old school Rally arcade game, it holds its own with an average of 40.3 FPS and a high of 73.2 and a low of 3.4. It runs and looks just about how I remember. But after taking off those rose-tinted glasses of nostalgia, the game runs decently, but could definitely be better. And with that, my conclusion. Through all these tests, it seems this computer can manage 30 FPS in most old titles, which isn't quite the overpowered nostalgia build I was looking for, but for a free computer, it surprised me with how well it did in some of the benchmarks today. But I'm not done with this build quite yet. Until next time.